So I'm going to be showing you how to draw the cone and the pyramid in this video. And that little crease right there is not part of the pyramid. So I'm drawing really small on my paper to save me time while I'm doing this, but on your paper, they should be much larger. So my hand is very high up on my pencil because I want to make sure that I am drawing lightly and that I can fix it as I go if I mess up. So the bottom of the cone is going to be the most important part. And you want to make sure that you get the angles on the bottom correctly. It's sort of round and sort of sharp at the same time, so make sure that you are noting So I just wrote down that you have to draw a lot bigger just in case you are not listening. But like I said, I am drawing mine small so that it can save me time. So once I have the shape that I want for the cone, and you do have to match the shape, so make sure that it's not too wide and it's not too skinny. Watch for the angle of the cone. So the bottom corners, like I said, are probably going to give you a hard time for you to try to get it correctly. And I'm going back and fixing it multiple times. That curve on the bottom should also match the reference image. So once I have my cone done, I'm going to start shading. And I'm going to start with the darkest part. And you kind of want to go in the contour of the cone to make it look rounder, so not necessarily curving your sketch lines, but I'm going in like that left to right or right to left direction and not straight down so that it can blend together once I get to doing the rest of the cone. And then the two sides are a little bit darker, so I'm gonna go in and kind of darken that edge while blending it in. So you never want to outline anything without blending that outline in. And these lines are going this way because again, I'm going with the contour of the cone to make it more rounded instead of going up and down or straight. So I'm shading at an angle, and I am using cross-hatching lines to get that blend. And then that top right there is a little bit darker, so taking my time so I can go in and blend everything together. And wherever you want it to be lighter and blend more, you just move your hand up the pencil so that you don't use as much pressure as you have been. Then again, cross-hatching lines so that everything blends. And then I will go back over the darkest area that's on the cone. So the darkest areas are depending on where the light is coming from. So with these reference images, the light is coming from above and off to the left side. So again, cross-hatching lines, blending everything. And then I sped this part up because you've already seen me shade multiple times. Remember to take your time on yours. It's not a one-time thing to get it to the darkness that you want. Remember to layer everything so that it blends together nicely. Drawing realistically is all about the blending. Then next I'm gonna work on the shadow on the bottom. And this is not a random shadow. This shadow is created by the source of light. So you want to make sure that you match that shadow that's on the bottom of this cone. And then as you can see, my lines are kind of going straight. Again, I am cross hatching. I really like the cross hatching method for shading, for it to blend together. So I do have those really light outer lines for the shadow so that it shows the surface that it's reflected on is very smooth, and that is in the original reference image. So next we're gonna work on drawing the pyramid, and it's very similar to the cone, except the pyramid is the pyramid is much sharper with sharper edges. And so you'll have the dark side and then you'll have the lighter side. And again, don't forget to draw these much bigger than what I'm doing. If you draw them just as small, I will not give you credit. These are for demo purposes only. So again, you want to make sure that you match up the angle of the lines, and I see now that my angle was not that well done because it's a little bit bigger than what it should have been. So these are all the things that you have to watch for as you're drawing these shapes. And the pyramid might seem like it's an easy shape, but to get all the angles correctly, it's not that easy. And you should not be drawing triangles. So just like when we did the cube, you should be drawing lines and think of the angles of the lines and the parallel lines that are on the pyramid. So only darken your outline for the part that you're going to shade in the darkest so that it comes out smooth. And like I said, you always want to blend the outline. So you don't see just a really dark line along the edge. You see that the outlines are blended into the shadows themselves. So again, I'm using cross hatching lines. And then sharpening the edges really make the image pop, and you want to make sure that your pencil is sharpened. So next I'm gonna work on the side that is not as dark. I like to start with the darkest side so that I can decide how light I want the lighter shades that are on the image. So I'm just gonna continue shading, and I sped this part up. Like I said, you've watched me shade before. And again, anytime I'm outlining, I want to blend it in. So I went back over the side because I don't feel like it was dark enough. And so I just went back in and added more shadows. You want to make sure that you're shading it flat, so that it doesn't look like it goes in. And then I'm gonna go ahead and draw my drop shadow for this object. So the bottom, again, I am kind of outlining and darkening the bottom of the pyramid. And it has that little cross kind of thing on the bottom because there's a reflection from the pyramid itself as well as the drop shadow. You'll be able to see it in your reference image very well. So when you're doing the shadow, please make sure that those lines that you make are not too dark because they're not very prominent in the photo. And you want to make it look like a shadow and not just two lines. And then I'm going back and just darkening. So you always want to adjust your image. and making sure that it looks just like what it's supposed to.